Hey everyone, welcome to the Lionsgate Portal Online Masterclass series. My name is Ruby, and I wanted to really honor and thank you for the grace and understanding and holding sacred space for me as I maneuver all these energies that is really almost seeming chaotic at this time as we process a very personal situation within our families and managing our grief individually in the family and then managing it as a group. It's really hard, and at the same time it is in those difficult moments that we learn to find hope, appreciate the present, and also learn to emit that self-love, self-compassion, so that we can also hold sacred space for each other. Now, why am I telling you all of this? So, the lesson for today is about manifestation and vision work. One of the crucial things that is required to do manifestation work is learning to manage your own energy, because that is the energy you emit outside to the world. And energy, just like in science, like and like equals more like. And if something is off keel, then that's the other energy that we attract. So learning to manage your personal energy is one of those things that is needed for co-regulation and learning to maneuver that to the world and the environment that we have. And many of us also are in different environments that, well, is out of our control. But what is in our control is how we receive that information, how we manage that information, and then how we transmute that information in terms of our own personal energy going out to the world and received by others. And that is very crucial, like I said, for manifestation, because what we attract to our lives, that is part of our own manifestation of our inner self. So it is crucial that I talk about that right now, because many people say, oh, I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to go through the steps, and you see so much stuff on social media about manifestation. But this aspect of manifestation is rarely talked about, at least in the ones that I've come across. And at the same time, it is something that needs to be spoken about. So, co-regulation, management of our own energy is a two-part situation that we need to do for manifestation and vision work. So, again, thank you for holding space for me and really understanding the fact that these are practices that I also stack on lunations of the moon, which is the different phases of the moon. Now, why is that important? So today I chose this day specifically because it is a new moon. The new moon energy, that means the moon is on its darkest phase. It is very hidden in the world. It is a time for introspection, a time for going inwards, and a time for growth, hope, to be seated in our own mindset, and then also to be planted within our own psyche. So it's not only just the mental, but also the physical and emotional. So what is the significance of the new moon? So think of seeds, right? When we plant seeds, it goes to the soil on the darkest underworld right now for it. And it has to have an environment above it and around it so that it can optimally grow into a good kind of seedling. And that is the same when we are doing manifestation work. Learning to be in our present moment and learning to cultivate that environment during this new moon phase. It's 3 days for this new moon in Leo, that we are able to really think about where are we at in terms of our own internal energy, our own internal compass, so that we can burst through that growth edge, that barrier of soil, so that we can learn to live the life that we want. Now, I'm going to specifically say something about how this practice came to be, and it is one of the reasons why the things that I share in terms of insight and lessons, it's not so much more for me taking a seat of a teacher, rather I am guiding you to find your own practice, to find what works for your own unique energy signature. But for one to learn that, we have to start with our own selves. So the new moon is a good phase of the moon. It's 3 days. You don't have to kind of go rush through things. You have 3 days to really think about these questions that I'm going to pose in this video for you, and then really cultivating that, and then really making it not only just the mental, but then also finding it somatically in our body, how we are, where is it located? How are we going to do that? And that is by stoking our internal intuition, our gut feeling, that subtle energy that runs within us. So with that being said, I also want to explore the astrological situation that we have right now. Like I said, we are new moon in Leo. Now, why astrology? Here's the thing. We are all interconnected, even to the heavenly planets above us. Not on this earth, but rather outside of us. And it has an effect on the energy signatures that we receive and emit to the world around us. So if astrology is something that stokes your fire, you're really interested in it, amazing for you. Now, if this doesn't resonate with you, that's also great. Take what you need from these practices and run with it. Go with it, because really it is curating your own practice. Now, the other aspect is, if there are questions that you have, I can point you to the right directions. My herbal apprenticeship guide is Jackie Lolita, and she is one amazing person. If you want to go through the whole situation of learning astrology, she's a great guide for that one, and also learning to have herbal allies. And one of the things when I am doing new moon work is that I make an infusion of ginger and rosemary, as well as lemon. Now, why those three, and what is an infusion? An infusion is water in a mason jar with these three things: ginger, rosemary, and lemon. And I will explain further on the post on why they are important. Ginger is really great for digestion. It's really learning to digest these questions that are posed to us during this new moon, to really cultivate what we want in the next 30 days to happen. Why rosemary? It is really a guide to cleanse our system. And why lemon? It's also for cleansing, but it's also learning to focus. Learn to focus on the intention that we are setting on this new moon. And what do you do with that? You put all three in a mason jar with water, and you sun it in the next 3 days. Or if you're drinking it every day, make 3 mason jars. And this is just a physical practice that not only anchors it to our body, and like I said, learning somatically where does these resistance and where does these tension lie, as we're learning to really stoke that intuition and learning the subtle energies and cues within our body. Those are important stack practices that I do when I'm doing lunation of the moon manifestation and vision work. So without further ado, what are the 3 questions that I would like to pose with you in part 1 of this manifestation and lunar work? And remember, it's about learning for the present moment. Where am I at? Because when you know where you're at right now, you will have a compass to where you need to go. So, first question is number one, most important, is the fact that what is that sensation or feeling that I can sense within my own body that is stuck energy, or that is making me feel maybe unhealthy, unwell, or that is not serving me in my highest purpose right now. What is stopping me from doing the stuff I want to do, and where do I feel it in my body? So sensation wise, I'll give you an example as a guide. I feel tension on my neck when I'm thinking about doing something new and it is unfamiliar for me. I feel that procrastination coming through because I'm afraid if I fail, and I'm afraid of what success could be, because we're not sure of how we're moving forward. So it's either we fail or either we succeed, or we're just kind of in the middle and coasting, right? But sometimes the sensation is so strong, what we tend to do is to do nothing. Or especially me, I tend to do nothing. And hence also that's the whole me learning to stay in integrity with my own self. That's the reason why I kind of paused and took that break for me to manage my own energy, right? So if that's starting to make sense for all of you. And then the next one is, what would I like to happen in the next 30 days that will serve my highest purpose in the next 30 days? So, I'll give you an example. Let's start with something small. One of the things that grief has an effect on me is the train of thought and the food that I ingest. I'm a stress eater. I've known that for quite a bit now, quite a long time actually, and it took me a good while to like, okay, I know I'm stress eating, because then I catch myself extra, chocolate bar here and there that I've been eating, or a bag of chips. I'm not diminishing the fact that that is a coping strategy. Now that I am aware, what can I do to mitigate from eating more than I should, right? So that's one. And then also, senses wise, I tend to gravitate to things that are also of low vibration. Things that I watch, things that I read, giving myself enough permission to, let's just say, doom scrolling is one of those things that we tend to discover when we're feeling low. And I've discovered that I've been spending more time just scrolling through social media this past few days. So catching myself and catching my breath that, okay, I was doing that to cope with the low energies that I'm feeling because of grief. Now what am I going to do? Catching myself means being aware and, okay, I just did, let's say, an hour on social media, which I don't normally tend to do these days. And what I did was that I will take a pause, do a breath practice for 5 minutes, and if I still feel unregulated, well, maybe I should take a nap. Or maybe I should read something else, like a physical book. Hence, this is the reason why this book from Christy was quite helpful during this past few days that I've been really trying to get through. And mind you, by the way, the interview with Christy, she did message me if I need to take that extra time, that we can defer it again. So with that permission from her as well, and staying integrity with all of you, that interview with Chrissy supposed to be for Wellness Wednesday today, what I will do is I will defer it, but I will take prompts from the books that can help support you to think, especially not only for Wellness Wednesday, but also for the manifestation work. There is a part here that I'd really love to share, and I'll share that in a different post, in honor of me deferring again this interview with Christy. Because honestly, like I said, the other thing too that happens with grief for me is the retraction from really being with other people. And it's something that I have to learn to manage a bit better, but it's also something that I respect for myself right here, right now, that I need to take that long pause and break from interacting with everyone for now, except for the social media posts that I did promise to give to you on this Lionsgate, because I need to manage myself right now. So if I am being a grouch and if I'm being in a negative state at the moment, it's not going to support others around me. So my family being with me right here, right now, as we go through our own motions, I am honoring their presence, and I'm also giving them the space to do the things that they need for themselves. So again, those are the questions that I would like for all of you to take stock for today's practice, and then I will follow it up with another video that has more to do on how to move that energy, hence the asana practice, the restorative practice, honoring also if you're going through loss. These are the 5 poses that I do when sometimes I can only even do 1 out of the 5 to help me process loss, to help me process grief, to help me process very deep emotions. So that is for the next video. And then there will be another video that has to do with the vision work. That is, what do I want in the next 30 days? And then because Lionsgate has finished, like I said, you can do this practice and it doesn't have to be just 30 days. If you have that stamina and capacity, you can stretch it out on what you really want to cultivate for the rest of your life. So from my home away from home to your space right now, I thank you and honor you, and I am truly grateful for you practicing with me today. So I'll see you in the next video.